Sibley. This is a video response to Mr. Brown and Mr. Randi. And what it's about is to do with cold reading again. I mean, Mr. Brown here, he's a magician, just like James Randi was. I mean, this cold reading system, like, you know, is a load of crap, really, to put it bluntly, because you can't suss out good mediums and bad mediums with this system. It's impossible. You know, this is where the problem is. I mean, I've done another video of cold reading and explained it the best way I can. Mr. Brown there, like, all he's done is trickery. He's done envelopes and the same sort of thing as James Randi wants to do for his challenge, that if somebody can prove he'll give $1 million, it's the same thing. All people do is every individual fits into certain categories, and we all have similar problems as well. But the only way you can really suss it out is to do with these categories. You have facts to do with them categories. I'll give you an example in a minute. But Mr. Brown's video here, it's just trickery. I mean, the envelopes that he's done there, he's just worked on categories. And if you look at all the people, they're all a similar age, you know. And if he had all different age groups, they'd have all different personalities and the different sorts of problems and whatever. So they're just all young kids. Anyone can do them the same. All young kids have the same thing. They're all just starting off in life. I'd like to see Mr. Brown do here a reading for an hour, you know, and give facts out. He's just giving the psychics a bad name here and getting a name for himself with his trickery. I mean, even James Randi as well. Exactly the same system as what he wants to use. Get 10 people, the medium gives readings to each one of them people, and then they shove all the envelopes up and give them out to individual people, so they don't get the right reading. But then again, it depends again what people he picks, or who picks these certain people. Because, like I said, with Mr. Brown here, he's got all the same age group. So they are going to have similar problems. But then again, you could have something different. The circumstances where they live and all that sort of stuff. And what their house is like and what interests they've got. I mean, I use this example to do with, you could go up to someone and say, like I've done in the spiritual church, and I've gone up to someone, and their brother was fighting over a chemist and over a will to do with their dad. There's not many people that have a chemist. The point I'm trying to make, if you go up to someone and say, have you got a car? I mean, think about it. Or if you go up to someone and say, oh, do you live in a house? Or, I mean, they're just stupid, aren't they? But when you get something like that, and this is where the problem is, cold reading really is a load of rubbish. You can't suss out good mediums from bad. It's not a system. This information comes from the spiritual world. And I've said it many times before. And this cold reading crap should be abolished. It's a load of rubbish. I mean, even there's James Randi to do with pop-off, you know. Well, alright, he sussed him out. That he was a fake, you know. You can't judge all of them by that, especially this cold reading rubbish. But I mean, when I've been in the spiritual church, and I have gone up to people and said, you know, was someone called Joe or whatever, and I've given a reading from that. But with that Joe, there was facts put with that Joe and describing the personality of that girl, what problems she had in life, and what relationship she was in, and what she just finished with the relationship and stuff like that. So they're all facts with that name. That's where some of these categories fit in, with names and places and stuff like that. But when you put facts with these names, Mr. Brown here is not doing. It's just a load of rubbish, this, it really is. He's just a magician. It's amazing how these magicians all fit in somewhere, isn't it? You know, not everything's a trick like he's making out Mr. Brown and what Mr. Randi says. No way is it a trick. And mediums can prove that with putting facts, and people slightly are in different categories. I mean, if you go to someone and you've got two people in a room, and you say to them, you say to one of them, "You're living on your own. You know, where you're living is you're unhappy and you've gone through a divorce." And then you go up to the other person and say, "What is it? Just gone through a divorce and you're living on your own." So there's two people. It's exactly the same, and it does happen because this is part of life. But the thing is, where the difference is, I'll give you an example again, is you know, your relationship, your fella was actually violent. The kids were frightened. You've had the kids taken off your to do with social services, blah blah blah. And you go to the fella and say, "Well, you know, your wife was very unfaithful to you, and she was messing around behind your back and being very unfaithful. But there's reasons, you know, that you might have been left her out and not given the attention that she wants. Now there you go." You know what I'm trying to say? There's facts with them categories. That's when you know it's a genuine medium, not trickery like Mr. Brown is trying to make out here. I mean, even with Mr. Randi, it's to do with his challenge. What I've just described there about two people, that could happen with 10. And his challenge, it could actually be done with the right sort of people, with a mixture of age groups. A medium can probably do it. But you know what? Everyone says here, "Well, why don't you go in for the challenge?" Well, the thing is James Randi will have the question on the end. You still can't prove that from dead people. That's how Mr. Randi's gonna get out of it. Never mind what he says and how he is. He did say that I'll find any way of not paying the money, and that's the way. I mean, even Mr. Randi with his astrology one, what he's done a video there, where he had loads of people in the room and he was passing all astrology around that end up, you know, the same, just like Brown here, the astrology one. But astrology is completely different. It's a system, and it describes people's personality, which as definite and straightforward as what spiritualism is. It's not. He's trying to do the same sort of system, Mr. Randi, as he's done with astrology. Completely different. There is something in astrology, but it's a system, whereas the spiritual world isn't. The thing is to do with astrology and plus to do with cold reading, you know, it's not way to sort. They're just what are the categories? You know, cold reading, they're working on categories. Brown here and Randi is working on categories as well. And like I said before, you just need evidence to go with these categories. And people do have different personalities to a certain extent, and they have different situations around them. And the only way you can suss out bad mediums from good, you can't judge it with this cold reading rubbish. Like I said before, the only people that can definitely do it is me. So if you want to know about certain mediums, if they're fakes or not, I'm the one that can do it for you. You know, James Randi or even Brown, they're just a pair of magicians who thinks everything's a trick. And like I said, you'll never suss out the good eggs from the bad eggs with the cold reading system. Some mediums work like that. Some mediums ask more questions than others, but you get facts with them questions. Anyway, but even badpsychic.com, that's another one. They're a load of idiots as well. All in for it for the money. That's what it's all about. Anyway, God bless everyone. Bye bye.